Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about a subreddit called UrbanHell, a photographic subreddit of all hideous places human beings build or inhabit. Users post images of ugly buildings, streets, places, or even entire cities. My channel is all about what makes a great city, but I think it can be useful to see what other people consider ugly city. If you scroll a bit through the sub, you notice an interesting pattern. Every now and then someone posts pictures like this. Budapest, Hungary, one of the ugliest houses in mostly beautiful city. Like what? What's the problem here? It's a normal building. So let's see the comments. It doesn't have any current building style. It's ugly as hell. Classic Eastern comic blocks, beautiful buildings in the center surrounded by Soviet blocks. If you scroll a bit, you can see another one. The poster described this as monotonous and melancholic. You can probably see a pattern here. The users on this sub seems to hate modernist housing. They usually call these buildings comic blocks. I plan to make a full video about the so-called comic blocks in the future, but for now I thought I'd make a shorter video highlighting some of the misunderstanding when it comes to the high-density housing. I don't have any data on this sub's demographic, but I assume most of them are Americans. Americans have a very particular idea of what a good living environment is. I don't know how else to put it, but I'd rather live in one of those dystopian apartments than in one of those cardboard houses on the periphery of Nowherefield, Ohio. So let's look at a few examples of those so-called awful urban hells from this sub. Brezhnev City, USSR. Today Nabezhnaya Chelny, Russia. It actually looks pretty nice. The city highway isn't great, but I see worse in the US. But otherwise it's a pleasant high-density city with plenty of public space. Those images are from winter, so there isn't much green, but this is how it looks during summer. It's actually quite nice. Now this post has a lot of likes, but the comment section seems to make fun of this post.
This guy literally posted "the car is bad" versus "Japan, yay" meme from the other sub.
This is a reference to the UrbanHell Circle Jerk subreddit.
Concrete wasteland. And it's just a normal city with snow equal bad. Bro did the place Russia is bad, place Japan is good meme. We got it. You hate all Russian cities. Fine, that's your opinion. But at least post pictures that actually match your point. Because from an artistic point of view, these photos look pretty damn fly. Where is the hell?
Literally any decent non-touristic city winter equal urban hell. This is another one from Russia. Norilsk, Siberia. Honestly, it does look pretty though. Now I definitely wouldn't like to live here, but not because of the buildings, but because of the weather. But the fact that there's a city with almost 200,000 people so close to the North Pole is actually really cool. And that's one of my main problems with this sub. They expect an upper middle class green suburb pretty much everywhere, regardless of environmental or socio-economical factors. Here's another one. Hong Kong 1964 versus now. Now I personally wouldn't like to live in a city as dense as Hong Kong, but in terms of efficiency, Hong Kong is actually pretty impressive. Here's another one, this time from US. Queensbridge houses, New York. Now, there are some posts where I kinda understand where the dislike comes from, but here I absolutely disagree. Queensbridge is actually a pretty good housing project, one of the very few high-density urban projects from the 20th century. You can't even say it's some boring grey concrete jungle. It's built with nice bricks, similar to the older New York buildings. Most importantly, it has a lot of nice green spaces, something you can hardly find in more expensive areas, like in Manhattan or Brooklyn. The reason is disliked is because it's associated with crime. Just look at the comment section. I don't want to get into too much history, but this is the result of racist policies of the time, when non-white areas were neglected. Even with all of this, I'd argue that even today it's more livable area than some of the rich areas across the bridge. That's one of the reasons it's being gentrified today. I still wanted to show you this because it's a good example of how a place is often perceived as bad or ugly because it's associated with crime or poverty, not because it's objectively bad. Some place is North Korea. Again, what's wrong with them? If it's grey apartment, it's bad. If they are colored, it's also bad. Are people bad because high density housing exists? But this is definitely my favorite. A suburb from North Korea. I can absolutely guarantee that this is a suburb modeled after a US suburb. So it's kind of funny coming from American Redditors that this is bad. Tehran, Iran. No, again, what's wrong with them? Ciudad de la Justicia, Barcelona. Like, really? That's actually pretty cool. I guess they could put some trees, but otherwise it looks pretty cool. Shenzhen, 1980-2025. If this were something from the West, everyone would say, look, the West is so developed. But again, the meme. North Korea suburb equal bad. Another one from China.
Why does this look like a render lol? Yeah, or even something AI generated.
Now, to be fair, this sub also makes fun of American-style suburbs. But the most popular posts are from Russia or China, or other less developed countries, mostly high-density housing area. There are definitely problems with some of them, but my issue is that this kind of quick content usually lack any nuanced analysis of their history or their utility. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you really enjoy my content. Have a nice day.